I'll start with a very short introduction for anyone who is a bit less familiar with us. WNS Procurement has been working with procurement teams globally for over 20 years now across categories, suppliers, and various industry. We actually have a really good representation of multiple industries today, including life sciences, manufacturing, CPG, and others I see joining. Since October 2025, we are now part of Capgemini. So day to day, that doesn't change how we engage with clients. The team and the approach stays the same, but it does mean that we can now bring in even broader capabilities, may it be around technology, around AI, and transformation, which means we can support clients end to end. Most of you will already be familiar with our procurement intelligence tool, including the one that we're presenting today. But that's just one part of what we do. We also support multiple customers around managed services with platform implementation, as well as transformation and advisory programs. Right, I'm keeping this intro very, very short. I will be, you've already all heard from me, but you'll hear from me after this webinar as well. You'll receive an email with a bit more information if you're interested to understand the full breadth of what WNS Procurement can offer. Before we go any further, I'm actually, as you can see, joined by two colleagues here today, which are at the heart of the digital suite, and more specifically, Amplifi PRO, which is the solution we're demoing today. So Vaibhav and Ritesh, can I please ask you to introduce yourselves in a couple words?
Sure. Thanks, Marian. Hello, everyone. I'm Vaibhav Jain, Head of Digital Solutions and Capabilities at WNS Procurement. Overall, I have 2 decades of experience in research, advisory, and analytics, working for procurement and strategy departments of Fortune 2000 companies, as well as private equity and consulting firms. Before leading the digital capabilities at WNS Procurement, I was heading insights and analytics function at the Smart Cube, which was acquired by WNS in 2022. I'm based out of New Delhi, India, and look forward to sharing our vision and perspective on what makes Amplifi PRO a must-have platform for every procurement function of every organization, big or small. Ritesh, over to you.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Hi, everyone. Ritesh Kumar this side. I've been in the procurement intelligence space for over 14 years, where I've looked at different categories on the direct as well as indirect side. In my current role, I'm looking into the category intelligence within WNS Procurement as the category intelligence head. I also look into the platform, which is Amplifi PRO, which is our quintessential procurement intelligence platform as its content head. I'm very happy to be presenting this platform to you all during this session today. Look forward to the session.
Perfect. Thank you very much, both. Now, to make this session as relevant as possible, we want to understand a little bit more about your usage of Amplifi PRO. So I'll pull up a poll. Give me 2 seconds. There you go. You should be seeing a poll on your screen now. So basically, yeah, we want to understand how familiar you are with Amplifi PRO. There's 3 options. The first one is you're very familiar, you're actively using it, and you love it. Number 2 is you are aware of it, but not necessarily really hands-on yet. And number 3 will be that you are not necessarily familiar with it, or maybe haven't heard of it, or just not explored it. So I'll just give a few seconds for as many people as possible to vote. Count down. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right, I'll end the poll now and share results. We actually had just under 50 people respond. So here are the results up now. This is, okay, so most of you are aware of it, very hands-on, great. And about 40% of you have also never necessarily heard of it or not explored it. So this session will be perfect for either of you, because we're going to dive into all of the new features. Great. So thank you, everyone. That's really helpful for the rest of the session. I'll stop sharing the results now. And one very last note from me, just about the format of today. We'll go through 10 minutes of presentation of all of the new Amplifi Pro features. Then we'll dive into a 30-minute demo with Ritesh. And then at the very end, we'll have a Q&A session. So please feel free to add any of your questions in the Q&A box as we go, and we will pick them up later. We'll leave about 10 minutes for questions at the end. With that, I'll hand over to Vaibhav to start the session.
Thanks, Marian. So interesting results. At least good to know that fair chunk of people have at least heard of it, are aware of it, may not necessarily have used it. And then there's a good mix who have never heard about it. So hopefully we'll keep the session such that it can cover for all users everything about Amplifi Pro there is to know that we can cover in these 34 to 40 minutes. Cool. So to begin, we all know that procurement today is undergoing a fundamental shift, and the mandate is no longer just about savings or efficiency. It is about enabling intelligent operations. That means making faster data-driven decisions, responding dynamically to market changes, and continuously aligning procurement strategy and business priorities. But while expectations have evolved, the way most procurement teams operate hasn't. A large part of procurement still relies on static PowerPoint reports, Excel-based analysis, and fragmented Word documents. These approaches are time-consuming to create, get quickly outdated, and are disconnected from real-time market realities. More importantly, they don't scale in a world where decisions need to be made in hours and not weeks. To truly enable intelligent procurement operations, organizations need to move from static reports to dynamic real-time intelligence, from minimal analysis to AI-powered insights, from information access to decision readiness. One of the primary reasons, in my experience, for reliance on these traditional tools is that historically, adopting platforms or tools meant a significant change management process, be it IT or your own internal team, to train them on the platform and its rules as well as limitations, which is no longer a requisite due to advancements in the technologies. But this shift is not just about technology. It's about fundamentally changing how procurement teams access intelligence, interact with data, and embed insights directly into their workflows. That is the transformation we are going to focus on today and the vision behind Amplifi Pro's new avatar. We can start, Ritesh, if you can just share the screen and we can start with the overview of Amplifi Pro.
Sure.
Great. If we can go to the full screen mode. Thanks, Ritesh. So let me start with a bit of a context. In March this year, we launched the next generation of Amplifi Pro, marking a major evolution of what has already been a market-leading procurement intelligence platform for over 8 years now. Amplifi Pro has long been trusted by 150 plus Fortune 1000 organizations for delivering to-the-point category insights, advanced commodity intelligence, and a rich repository of tools and frameworks supporting day-to-day procurement operations. But with this latest release, we have taken that foundation to next level. Amplifi Pro is now the definitive procurement intelligence platform designed to power intelligent procurement operations for today and the AI-driven future. So what does Amplifi Pro do? At its core, Amplifi Pro is an end-to-end market intelligence solution for procurement professionals, delivering on-demand, analytics-led, and highly contextualized insights to enable faster and more confident decision-making. It combines AI-powered intelligence and deep human expertise and what we call the AI plus HI advantage to ensure that insights are not just fast, but also accurate, consistent, and actionable. What truly differentiates Amplifi Pro is its 3-tier procurement intelligence model, designed to address the full spectrum of procurement needs. First is the standard pre-built intelligence. This forms the foundation and addresses nearly 50 to 60% of everyday procurement needs. This includes category dashboards for any and every direct as well as indirect category, supplier intelligence for supplier discovery and data, macroeconomic and geopolitical insights, inflation indices, cost structures, and benchmarks, and a comprehensive library of tools, templates, and procurement frameworks. All of this is ready to consume and immediately actionable. The second layer is AI powered quick but contextual and vetted intelligence. Amplify Pro uses multiple embedded AI agents to instantly generate tailored insights for everyday procurement needs across category management, sourcing, and supplier or contract decisions. What sets this apart is the balance of speed and reliability. Insights are AI generated for scale and efficiency, but human vetted for accuracy and relevance. This is the agentic AI in action with a human in the loop. The result? Procurement teams move from manual analysis to real time decision ready intelligence delivered in quick time. The third layer is specialist intelligence for strategic decisions. This is where Amplify Pro brings together our unparalleled bespoke intelligence capabilities with deep subject matter expertise and advanced analytics. It is especially valuable for complex, high impact initiatives where data is fragmented, difficult to find, or requires deeper interpretation, ensuring that even the most critical procurement decisions are supported by robust, high confidence intelligence. And to bring all of this together is where PR Plus, our procurement intelligence agent, plays a pivotal role. PR Plus seamlessly binds intelligence across all three tiers, providing a unified, intuitive interface that enables users to access the full depth of Amplify Pro through simple queries, delivering pinpointed, context aware answers exactly when and where they are needed. I'll now hand it over to my colleague Ritesh, who will walk you through a live demonstration of Amplify Pro and showcase how these capabilities translate into real-time, decision-ready intelligence across the procurement cycle. Ritesh, over to you.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Right, so now we will be doing a quick deep dive into the platform itself, the different types of insights and intelligence that we can find here, the easiest way to find that information, and see how the details, the different modules that Vaibhav just talked about, how they actually come in play and how they can support you on your procurement journey. Now, on the platform, we have primarily three types of intelligence. We cover a lot of category related intelligence, where we have around 2100 plus pre-built category dashboards, which cover the different direct as well as indirect procurement categories. These would be dashboards covering the level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4s of procurement. In addition, we have a lot of commodity related intelligence, which is supported by again those commodity focused dashboards, and then some of the other very useful metrics, which we'll be talking about shortly. We also cover a lot of supplier related intelligence, which we'll be covering shortly, where you can actually get a pre-created list of relevant suppliers for your respective categories, which aids you in your supplier discovery journey. And then, of course, we have our thought leadership reports in the form of these topical insights, which we keep sharing with our procurement community with the idea and intent that we want them to be aware of what is happening globally, what disruptions or macroeconomic developments are taking place, and what impact it would have on their procurement categories. So I'll probably pick this one by one. Let's get into the category intelligence related coverage that we have. So as I mentioned, all the different 2100 plus pre-built dashboards that we have on the platform, they can be accessed from this view, where you can come under category intelligence and access all those dashboards here. We have also categorized these under different sectors that we primarily focus on. So if you're looking for any specific dashboards on the indirect category, all of those dashboards can be seen in this view, or life sciences, industrial, CPG, and so on. And we'll pick one of these dashboards and see the kind of depth, the kind of insights, the forward-looking view, as well as some very actionable metrics that we now provide within each of these dashboards that we have. In addition to these dashboards, we also have the newsletters, which is available for all the different categories that we are covering, category as well as the geography combinations. We have a large pool of around 14,500 plus cost structures, which is available on the platform. These cost structures are available for different countries and for different category combinations. So one can simply use those filter options to identify the relevant country of interest to them. And then for each of those countries, they would see a long list of relevant categories for which these cost structures are available on the platform. We also have inflation monitors, which is available here. Under inflation monitors, again, we cover different types of indices, whether it is electricity related indices or freight related indices, which is under a real spotlight these days because of the global disruption that is going on. So you can again come here, select the country of interest, whether you're looking for global freight indices, US specific, Europe specific, and so on. And then a long list of relevant indices would feature here, which would give you visibility on how those prices, how those indices have been moving. Similarly, if you're looking for labor related insights, which talks of the labor rates on different industry sectors, different categories, and so on. And again, these filter options for countries would help you identify the relevant labor rates. We also have a lot of PPIs, which is the producer price index related information. Again, a very extensive coverage on different countries, particularly the Europe, the Americas, and so on, where extensive information is available. All these data points that we have, they flow in directly from the original sources without any human intervention, largely through APIs. So we ensure that the information, as and when it is updated on the original source, it starts to reach you. There is no human intervention involved in between. So that's the coverage that we have largely on the inflation monitors. And then, of course, we also have a partnership with a firm called CASME, which is into peer intelligence. They organize roundtable conferences and panel sessions. The discussion guides to these discussion sessions, they are made available on the platform in the form of detailed reports, which can be accessed complimentary from the platform. That's on the category intelligence side. In addition, we also have a lot of commodity related intelligence on the platform, where we have commodity dashboards that are available. And within those commodity dashboards, we talk of commodity price forecasts and several other interesting modules that we have. And let me just pull up one such sample report and showcase the kind of coverage that we have. Today itself, I think we have seen in the news that the crude oil prices have again increased by 2 to 3%. So let's just pick this example of the most volatile commodity ever. So here on Brent crude oil, again, we have different modules that are there. We do provide the buying recommendations. We do provide the historical prices. And then we have our in-house forecasting team, which has a very high accuracy rate for these forecasts that they provide, typically ranging between 85 to 95% for most of the commodity grades. So they use these enhanced models through which these price forecasts are being made available. This is available for a pool of 1100 to 1200 different commodities and can be accessed directly through the platform on request. We have different modules which talk of in depth, give you a quick visibility into what has really happened with the commodity, its prices in the past. And then the price forecast that we are providing, we also give you visibility with detailed qualitative analysis on what it implies, what are the changes that we are anticipating, and so on. We have also introduced one of the very useful and a new AI-powered module here, which is the AI-powered price forecast. This module essentially gives you a quick visibility, a near real-time visibility into the commodity price movements or volatility. So let's say for any specific commodity, there is a news or a disruption that has taken place, and that disruption is expected to impact its prices. So within 4 hours, typically the AI engine that we have at the back end, it would crawl and scan for all those news, those developments, which will be built into the module. And then accordingly, the price forecast will get adjusted and they will reflect here. And in parallel, this AI Sense, which is again another AI-based module, it will also adjust the commentary that we have provided here so that you can know that the price forecast will be what has been presented here. And then it is also backed by insights on why we feel that the prices will be showing this specific trajectory. So this is again a very useful module, which is really appreciated by our clients where they want quick visibility into their strategic commodities. In addition, we also have something called a savings opportunity scenario calculator, which is again a very handy tool. Let's say a team has a procurement spend of around $10 million on crude oil. They simply enter that detail over here, and then on a month by month basis, they provide their spend visibility, rather the exposure on the different commodities. Now, based on these selections that I'm doing, once I click on enter, it will actually calculate that on a spend of $10 million, which me and my team has on this category, what based on the price forecast that have been provided by WNS Procurement, typically there is a savings of 0.56 millions which can be achieved. So this kind of visibility, this kind of calculator and tool is also something that is available within this commodity module that we have. And not to forget, we also have a large pool of commodity prices which is available on the platform. This is essentially close to 14,000 different commodity grades that are covered. This includes the spot rates, the contract rates, and so on. Let me just quickly showcase a sample of a commodity price and what it would look like. So essentially, we have these filter options through which you can select a commodity basket, a region or country that you might be looking for. You can select the commodity that is of interest to you, the frequency for which you want this information reported, and then all that data becomes available here. Now, this specific series that we are seeing is for diesel oil spot prices in China. This monthly data is last reported till March 2026, which is the full month. But since this is spot price, the daily prices are also available on the platform. And we can change that filter option and we can actually access the daily prices till I think 28th of April, which is being reflected. So prices till today, they are available on the platform. And as I mentioned earlier, there is no human intervention involved in these price series data that is available on the platform. As and when the original source is updated, it starts to get reflected here. So that's on the commodity intelligence side. Coming over to the next bit, which is on supplier intelligence. Again, here we have an extensive pool of relevant suppliers which are pre-identified, pre-profiled, and made available to you. We have these filter options through which we can identify the relevant suppliers. So let's say if I'm looking for suppliers of integrated facilities management, I just make that selection over here. And then I have those country related filters. Let's say I'm looking for suppliers operating within the different European countries only. So let me just make a selection of some relevant geographies there. And then once I click on enter, it would essentially pull up the list of relevant suppliers from those geographies, which I can then download in an Excel. And the list of relevant suppliers, it can then be accessed by me, and all that information along with their basic profiles, all of that would be available. So so here I have a list of around 26 integrated facilities management related suppliers, their details, including their business description, their revenue, headcount, other details on the suppliers. So this kind of a list essentially kind of helps you with your RFI, RFX, or RFQ exercises, where it would give you a quick list, quick visibility into the relevant suppliers, based on which we can then filter out and then conduct the subsequent processes. So that's on the supplier intelligence side. Outside of this, we also have the topical insights, as I was just talking of earlier. So these topical insights are essentially some reports that we produce on the platform. The idea and intent is to keep our community, our procurement community, our users aware of what different developments are taking place globally, what kind of impact those developments have on their respective procurement categories. So this report that I'm just showcasing, this was released a week back, I guess, on the 23rd of April, where we are talking of different events on a quarter by quarter basis. We keep tracking these events, and then here we have talked of the Middle East conflict. We give a snapshot of the different sectors, their impact, then a view by L1, L2, L3 category on what is the expected movement on prices for the different sectors, and then that gets followed by detailed commentary around it. And this is covered for all the different sectors. So very extensive coverage, which happens on a monthly basis, where we give you visibility into what's happening globally and how it is impacting your categories. Now, not only this, even on the other events, for example, the Middle East conflict, which has been a big development and a big disruption that's going on globally, we have been talking about and covering a lot of relevant information on the platform. As a matter of fact, we have published it in the digital dashboard format too. which is available through this My Dashboards view, where you can come and identify. For all the clients, we do release these dashboards. So this one is the detailed dashboard that I was talking of, where we cover the impact of this event from a procurement lens without talking of any flab, any information which is not relevant from a procurement perspective. All of that gets filtered out, and only procurement related insights are made available here. So here we talk of the different developments that have taken place. We talk of the different indices that are being monitored, a day by day view of a timeline of the events. What is the impact on different countries? What is the impact on freight, particularly on ocean and air freight? What is the impact on different procurement categories? So, for example, on the different indirect sectors related L1, L2, L3 categories, life sciences related categories. What is the procurement risk? What is the price impact? What is the mitigation urgency? Similarly, we look into different uh, players, different companies who are getting impacted, the kind of mitigation measures they are taking in response to those events. Then we also talk of the commodity related impact, where we provide insights such as the scenario wise price forecast for crude oil, for natural gas, for other commodity baskets too. So a very extensive coverage on the event. All of this gets updated on a weekly frequency. Again, the idea is just to ensure that you as procurement users, practitioners, you're aware of what is happening. And from an unfiltered lens, you get to know the procurement impact on your respective categories. So all this was part of the pre-built intelligence that we already have on the platform. Let me now come to the core of the platform, which is in the form of the category insights dashboards that we have. Now, these dashboards are essentially a summarization of the different types of intelligence which may be relevant, which a procurement user, a procurement team member might want to be aware of related to their specific categories. Let me just pull up a sample dashboard from maybe indirects where we can look at something focused on IT. So I'm pulling a sample on IT services in North America. And a very similar view to this specific dashboard that I'll be showcasing is actually available on the platform under this pre-built model for 2100 plus different category geography combinations. So on all those categories, you would be able to see the coverage that I'm going to showcase here. Now, primarily, we have the different widgets which talk of forward-looking insights on the different dashboards. So the idea and intent of the current release that we did on Amplifi Pro, particularly with respect to these dashboards, was to make them more actionable, more forward-looking, so that the procurement team members, they are able to actually use all these information, all these intelligence and insights in their day-to-day tasks. So here we have a widget which talks of the category level inflation, the current level of inflation, the 3-month going in view on inflation. We also have added a new widget which talks of the top procurement related KPIs and the corresponding benchmarks, where you would be able to see details on what are the prevalent benchmarks for different KPIs, what are the ideal benchmarks that organizations strive for, what do these numbers mean, how these can be further optimized, and so on. This level of coverage is available for 15 to 25 KPIs on each of our 2100 dashboards. So comfortably, this is the most extensive, most elaborative compilation of KPIs and the corresponding benchmarks anywhere on the public domain. So all this information gets available in the form of these dashboards. We have procurement related opportunities, corresponding procurement related risks, how these can be best mitigated. We have also added a new widget which is focused on category outlook, where we look into different events that have taken place, which we feel may impact the specific category. We identify and bucket them under different factors. We provide a current status on those events. What is the expected short-term impact, the medium-term impact, and so on. Detailed cost structure on the category, cost drivers in the form of the inflation monitors, in the form of the different commodity prices which might be impacting that category, all of that data. Then inflation drill down. So at the top, we have just talked of a time-stamped view on what the inflation on this category looks like. Here we get into the details of it and we provide you visibility on each of those cost drivers and what is the current level of inflation, 3-month view on inflation. Similarly, the remaining procurement KPIs and their corresponding metrics, supplier intelligence. So on all these 2100 dashboards, we talk of the supplier list, which covers 40 to 50 suppliers, which aids you in the quick supplier discovery, the landscape. Some of the other interesting modules, such as category related risk, where we talk of 10 plus sub risk parameters. And on each of those parameters, we identify what is the current level of risk, provide you some details around that. What does that imply for you as a category manager, a procurement team member? So all those detailed insights and intelligence is available. Regulatory overview, Porter's 5 forces, SWOT and pestle analysis. Trends, again, where we look into different types of trends, innovation related trends, which covers the patents that have been filed, the companies who are making those innovations, and so on. Similarly, the sustainability related trends and some of the larger mega trends on those categories. So a very similar view would actually be available on all those 2100 dashboards that we have on the platform. It remains very similar in terms of the depth of information that is available, in terms of the widgets that we are covering here. All this information, I know it can get a bit overwhelming to go through at one instance, but for your support, for your help, we have this PR Plus, which is our procurement intelligent assistant. It can be triggered easily through the platform on any of the dashboards that we are looking at, and we can actually ask questions directly here. And it would pull out the information that you're looking for. You don't have to be overwhelmed by this dashboard or the content of the amount of information or insights here. You can simply ask the questions here, get a very targeted response. Now, one may feel that, okay, WNS Procurement's tool, Amplifi PRO, does have 2100 categories, but probably the specific category or the geography that I'm interested in is not already covered on the platform. What do I do about it? Now, these kind of questions we have been facing for quite some time, and then our clients also used to come to us and ask these questions. Now, in this current release, we have actually attempted to solve for this question, where we have introduced some new modules onto the platform. The first module is the Category Insights Builder, which is a game-changing module which leverages our AI agents. The benefit of this tool is that a user can actually come here and ask for any category geography combination, and a detailed dashboard similar to the one on IT services that I was just showcasing gets created and added back onto the platform. So let's say if I'm looking for corrugated packaging, and within corrugated packaging, I am looking for a dashboard on Mexico. So I can actually come here and I can put in my queries. I'll enter the category that I'm looking for. I'll type in the geography that I'm looking for, and I'll submit that request. And that specific dashboard, which focuses on corrugated packaging within, let's say, Mexico, gets created onto the platform and added within a maximum of 2 working days. Now, the way these dashboards are getting created is that there is a AI agent, which is procuring all this information from the backend. All this information that gets passed on to our team of SMEs, subject matter experts, who then validate the information, vet it for relevance. And then after that scrutiny has been done, the updated information in the form of the dashboard gets published back onto the platform. And currently on the platform, we are largely covering only the regional dashboards. Let me just showcase what one of these country-specific dashboards would look like. So we have a sample on corrugated packaging in Germany, which is a similar dashboard which would get triggered once you are requesting information on a country level. So here again, you would see all those very similar information, all those widgets that we have just discussed, all the similar information, similar depth, which gets created onto the platform, all those same set of widgets, and it gets enabled for your easy consumption, and it gets made available to you within 1 to 2 working days. I think on corrugated packaging, we also have another widget which focuses on trade related insights. So on the different countries, you would also get some trade related information here, and then of course the trends. So that's one of the new modules that we have recently added. The objective and the intent is just to ensure that Amplifi PRO truly becomes a source of unlimited procurement intelligence to you. Whatever information, whatever category geography you're looking for, all of that gets delivered through Amplifi PRO. The next
Ritesh,
is
if I may chime in, I think the key highlight over here and why Ritesh called it a game changer is that this makes it basically plausible for you to access any and every category, right, as per your taxonomy, right? And you can define, you don't have to be restricted by any drop down methodology of corrugated packages. You define it the way you do it in your organization. You pick the geography, region, country, continent, and you get the same level of depth as Ritesh showed you, quickly available within a one working day time span. And why one working day is also because Ritesh, as he mentioned, it is vetted by our analysts. Our AI agents produce that information in less than an hour, and then the analyst vets it, right? So you get credible information on absolutely every category. And as a category manager, if you want to make your category strategy, refine it, you get it pretty much in one working day on any category of your choice. So don't need to be restricted by which sector you are working in. Any organization, any procurement function can leverage any of this.
Thanks, Vaibhav. The second module that we have in place is on quick intelligence. Now, again, our users, our clients, they keep coming to us and requesting that, okay, I need some type of intelligence, but I don't have to want to wait for that information to be delivered to me for a week or 2 weeks. These are very standard requests that I have. Now, for addressing that specific use case, we have actually come up with something that we are calling as quick intelligence. Here, when a user comes in, they have to select the procurement persona, and then accordingly, they will see a list of different project types, which we in our experience have identified. And we feel these are more or less commoditized projects, not very complex, but something that is urgently needed by our users occasionally, very frequently rather. So for these projects, again, we have deployed these AI agents, which leverage the pool of the WNS procurement knowledge base that we have. And it also taps into the World Wide Web for scouting through all the public domain information, and then makes a report available within the 1 to 2 day working task. So let's say if you're looking for a quick list of suppliers, earlier I was showcasing that example of integrated facilities management, and I selected a few countries within Europe. But let's say your requirement is more niche. You are actually looking for that set of 30, 40 suppliers within Netherlands or within Mexico. So you can actually come here, ask that specific question where you can put in your categories name. Let's say if you're looking for integrated facilities management, and then you can type in the country that you are interested in. And then for that specific combination, a dashboard gets created and added onto the platform. Again, within that 1 to 2 day working day tag. Or let's say if you are interested in any other project type, for example, we have these modules focused on supplier profiles or a supplier risk assessment for any of your incumbent vendors, where you may want to understand what a critical vendor's risk profile looks like. So you can actually request a risk assessment profile where a similar view covering the financial, ethical, legal, all those kind of risk related aspects on the supplier gets covered and made available to you. Or you may just be looking for a detailed market report. The same can also be requested here in a similar manner. All of this gets delivered within 1 to 2 working days. I would just like to call out one more thing here, that the list is not only restricted or limited to these 4 project types that we are seeing here. It's a ever evolving list. More and more similar projects get added to this list as we progress. The third one is the specialist intelligence capability, which is the mainstay of WNS procurement and erstwhile the Smart Cube, where we have been working on different categories on the direct as well as indirect side, commodities, different suppliers for over 20-25 years now. And we have a huge pool of analysts and SMEs who are available, who are trained on these categories, and they have relevant, reliable experience. They essentially help you on all these specialist intelligence related custom projects. This could be something which is very sector specific. For example, it could be a design to value benchmarking study, or a backward integration and a plant feasibility assessment. Or maybe for the life sciences related clients, it could be a therapeutic area pipeline analysis, or conference coverage mapping, a regulatory and approval intelligence. Or for indirect categories, it could be a simple rate benchmarking, where a user may be looking for information on, let's say, marketing or consulting services or IT services across different designations in a particular country. All those information, they can be requested through this specialist intelligence and made available to you. For all these types of projects, we also have uploaded some sample projects for your reference. So you can actually come here, explore those samples, see the depth that we can actually get into, and a similar depth depending on your requirements, depending on the countries, categories, geographies that you're interested in, we can actually execute those projects and share it back with you under the specialist intelligence offering. And it's not only restricted to these 10 projects that we currently see here. You can also request any specific, any additional type of project that you may have in mind, which is not already listed here. Within the specialist intelligence, we do have a very strong capability and will be more than happy supporting you there. Now, as Vaibhav also indicated earlier, we have these different modules onto the platform. Now, to combine all of this together, the pre-built intelligence, the new custom intelligence, the quick intelligence, everything that we are showcasing and we have talked of so far, we have brought in our procurement intelligent assistant, which is PR Plus, into the play. This tool is actually able to give you very targeted response to any questions that you may have in mind. This works on a deep search functionality and it scans through all the content that we have on the platform. So all those 2,100 dashboards, those 100,000 plus suppliers, or those 15,000 plus different cost structures that we have, the 14,000 commodity prices that we have, everything gets scanned through when we query it here. Let me just give you a quick sample of how powerful this tool is actually. So let's say I am the category manager for pharma packaging category in the US. Help me with the category strategy inputs, rather priorities in the coming 12 to 18 months. So let's say I'm putting in a very straightforward question here to the platform. I'm calling out that this is my persona, this is the category that I'm managing, and what is my exact requirement here. And then I put that question in a natural language querying format, NLQ. What it is doing in the backend is that it is scanning through all the information that is available on the platform on this category and related to this query that I have put in. And if it is able to find any relevant information, it will summarize all of that together at one place and present it to us for our easy consumption. Now, calling out that all this information that gets generated, it is actually coming from the platform. It is not coming directly from the World Wide Web. So all this information would be valid, vetted information, and it has already gone through the lens of our SME teams, our SME analysts who have analyzed this information and presented it on the platform. Now, since this is working on a deep search functionality, it does take maybe 30-40 seconds to pull all that information and insight together, and then it would start to present that information here. Typically, we have a lot of information which is not only from the dashboards. Let's say even if for a client we are uploading their specific custom projects that we might have executed for them, all of those projects can also be queried through this PR Plus, and that information also becomes available here. So let's say for a specific client, we may have done some should cost models where those detailed models have been created and added onto the platform. We can actually query all that information directly. And it's not only through this chart interface that we are seeing currently. We also have something called PR Plus for Teams, which is a MS Teams app that we have in place. So you can actually ask those questions directly into that PR Plus and get a response directly over there. Or let's say if you have any other specific question on any of the dashboards that we have, all of that can also be triggered and we can get a response around that. The integration of the platform is already available through REST APIs. So all this information, insights, intelligence that we are seeing here, that would be accessible to you through our REST APIs on your internal platforms. We also have MCP servers in place. So let's say as an organization, if you have already integrated and implemented some AI modules where you have those AI agents, you can actually start ingesting all this information from the platform from Amplifi Pro directly into your internal MCP, internal environment through using those MCP servers. So that's largely the capabilities that we have brought onto the platform, the different modules that we have introduced here. I would encourage that we look into these capabilities. We explore them. If you have any questions, any thoughts, you can directly log into the platform. You can ask questions using this chatbot too. Uh, that was largely the coverage that we had here. Thanks for your time. I'll hand it over to Vaibhav now to cover the remaining aspects of this demo.
Thanks, Ritesh. I think you pressed the back button, and as a result, I think your PR plus query didn't come through on it, right? When you were doing, maybe you can just run it at the back end. In the meanwhile, I'll present the slide to just showcase the results also for the audience. Thank you. As we wrap up, let me quickly bring together what makes Amplify Pro truly distinctive, and more importantly, what it means for you as a procurement leader and practitioner. First, it is a truly unlimited procurement intelligence platform covering virtually every direct and indirect category across geographies and markets as per your taxonomy and requirements. Two, it brings deep and structured intelligence at scale, including 14,000 commodity price data points, 15,000 cost structures, and 11,000 plus cost drivers, more than 10,000 inflation indices, deep analytics including risk, inflation outlook, benchmarks, and category performance. Third, you get configurable dashboards, bringing all intelligence into a single unified platform, combining a powerful three-tiered intelligence module, ready to consume pre-built insights for everyday needs, AI-powered contextual intelligence for rapid decision-making, and deep specialist intelligence for complex high-impact initiatives. Fourth, you get embedded AI and agentic capabilities, with multiple AI agents delivering exceptionally fast turnaround and real-time decision support. Fifth, you get seamless integration into your ecosystem through APIs and MCP-based modular connectivity, allowing intelligence to flow directly into your existing systems and workflows. Sixth, you get configurable and persona-driven experience. From CPOs to category managers and sourcing teams, everyone gets relevant role-based intelligence. And then you get the best of AI and HI. HI being human intelligence, combining AI agents for speed, analyst validation for accuracy, proprietary data built over 20 plus years, and SME expertise for deep contextualization. And lastly, simple and intuitive user experience with PR Plus at its heart for guided and non-guided natural language query resolution and request intake. Ultimately, Amplify Pro enables procurement organizations to operate in a truly intelligent, insight-led, and future-ready manner. For procurement teams, this translates into tangible impact. You gain the ability to make faster, more confident decisions, respond proactively to market changes, strengthen supplier and sourcing strategies, and move to agentic ecosystem fueling intelligent procurement operations. With that, we come to the close of our presentation, and we would be happy to continue the conversation and explore how this can be tailored to your organization. We'll now open the floor for any Q&A.
Thank you, Vaibhav. Thank you, Ritesh. You have all been extremely generous with questions, so we have more than 13 that came in. We do have 10 minutes left, so I'm not sure we'll make it through all of them. However, we will obviously do our best, and if we cannot get through everything, we will be reaching out to you individually. First one, so I tried to group some together. The first one is actually talking about AI more broadly. So how is Amplify Pro different from my team using ChatGPT or any other LLM?
That's a great question, and one we get quite often. While tools like ChatGPT are powerful, Amplify Pro is fundamentally different in three important ways. First, the way intelligence is generated. Behind Amplify Pro are highly engineered, extensively tested prompts, often running into multiple pages, built using deep procurement expertise, which is not something a typical user can, or for that matter, should even be expected to replicate manually. Moreover, these prompts are continuously refined and updated to leverage the latest LLM technology and capabilities. This ensures that the outputs are highly relevant and procurement specific. Second is the data foundation. Amplify Pro does not rely on open internet data source alone. It pulls from our proprietary knowledge base built over two plus decades of information, combined with trusted data partners and curated reliable external sources. So what you get is validated, contextual, and decision-grade intelligence, not generic outputs. And third, human validation. Every insight is reviewed and vetted by procurement analysts, ensuring accuracy, consistency, and real-world applicability. Hope this answers your question.
We actually had two questions that were covering this topic. So yeah, hopefully we have answered them. If we haven't, again, reach out after. We'll be happy to deep dive a bit more. We're staying in the same kind of topic. So someone's asking, how does PIA Plus ensure accuracy and avoid hallucinations?
Sure. As I covered in my response to the previous question, Amplify Pro and therefore by extension PIA Plus operates within a control intelligent ecosystem. It doesn't pull information from open unverified sources. It leverages curated data sets, structured and verified content sources, and proprietary knowledge that has been built over 20 plus years. And on top of that, a built-in human vetted layer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Vaibhav. For the next ones, I think I might hand it over to Ritesh. Ritesh, sorry. We're talking a bit more about integration. So how easily can Amplify Pro integrate with our existing systems? And the examples given here are SAP, Coupa, Ariba.
Right. So Amplify Pro does have a very easy approach to ingest all this data into the client systems, even to the platforms such as Coupa, Ariba, and so on. We do have some partnerships already in place, so that can be leveraged. In terms of integration, as I explained earlier, we already also have those REST API based access. We have those MCP server based access. We have the PIA Plus Teams chat access. But if a user wants to integrate and ingest all this data to their own procurement platforms through Coupa, Ariba, and so on, all of those can also be looked into. We have several of those partnerships already in place.
Well, in terms of integration, if I may add, I think it is very straightforward because integration from our system to any of these tools is actually straightforward because our APIs and MCP connectivity is given, the signatures are provided. So it's really up to the IT team of the consuming software to do it, although our engineering team will be available to support you at any point in time. But typically it takes less than a week for most of these integrations to come into play because our APIs are fairly well designed and easy to consume.
Perfect. Thank you both. Have another one regarding internal procurement data. So can it incorporate our internal procurement data?
Right. So in terms of the internal procurement data, let's say if we are talking of the spend data or contract data, all of that we can, of course, integrate. And there is a separate procurement analytics module, which is also available on the platform on Amplify Pro. Outside of this, let's say if a client or user wants that their internal context, let's say their category taxonomy or their information on the different categories, the existing strategies, all that gets ingested into the platform. That is also something that can actually be done. And then it would be able to combine both their internal context with the external intelligence that is available through Amplify Pro. So the quality of the response or the results that get generated through PIA Plus, they become more extensive, better quality, more granular or contextualized to the client's requirements.
Yeah, the short answer here would be absolutely right. In fact, we strongly encourage our users to integrate that information because that's how the results become stronger when you marry that external and internal information.
Okay, and there was someone, I just want to make sure we address that question specifically, asking about the internal taxonomy. So what you're saying is that they would need to upload that data into the
No,
tool.
not necessarily. Not necessarily. So when we were talking about taxonomy, what we meant was that one of the limitations of majority of the platforms is you have to live with what that platform is offering, right? So the way the categories are defined in that particular platform. But when we said that you can use your taxonomy, use your words, what we meant was that you don't have to be restricted by how it's a natural language querying module, right? So you call ID hardware, ID services, whatever level, you put your questions in PR Plus as a natural language query, or if you have to build a new dashboard, just put that in that particular manner itself, and we will be able to scout that information irrespective of because there is no taxonomy necessarily needed. Having said that, if you want the information to be graded as per your taxonomy, yes, you can provide the taxonomy module to us and we can integrate that into the dashboards as well. So both of these are possible from our standpoint, which does away the limitation of a typical platform, right, which works on defined taxonomies.
Okay, perfect. We can actually maybe stick with you, Vaibhav. The next question is around pricing. How is the platform priced?
So pricing is flexible and modular, and it totally depends on the volume and mix of intelligence layers you require, right? We showed you the 3-layer intelligence system, from standard to quick intelligence to totally complex and contextualized intelligence, which you get from a specialist way. So depending on your requirements and your needs, and as well as your budgets, our team can provide you the most optimal commercial model, allowing you to make the most of your investments. So this allows organizations to start small, and it can scale up based on the value you realize over a period of time. So completely flexible. We'll work with you to understand your budget and requirements to suggest the right design of how you can use the platform.
Perfect. Thank you. We have about 3 minutes left, so I'm hoping maybe 3 more questions. One of them is, how frequently is the data updated on Amplifi PRO?
So on Amplifi Pro, we typically have different types of information. So the pre-built intelligence, everything that we have, for example, these dashboards that we showcased earlier, all of those get updated on a quarterly frequency. There would be all these indices that we have available, which runs into 30,000 plus. So all these indices, they typically, some of the indices are even updated on a daily or a weekly frequency, but mostly the indices would get updated on a monthly frequency. The other information, which is the 3 new modules that we have introduced, there primarily it depends on the client's requirements. If they prefer it to be updated on a monthly or a quarterly or a half yearly frequency, all of that can be actually accommodated.
So in the interest of time, let me do one thing. Very quickly, just reading through the questions, I'll try to answer ASAP, right? Those to try and cover, right? So if there is no research for a specific topic that we can find in this platform, what shall we do? Well, one, you can raise a request and we will find that information on through first AI mode. If that information is not available via AI mode, which is vetted by our analyst, we can do a specialist intelligence project for you separately to deliver the right kind of outcomes. Bottom line, you will get the information and insights that you need, whether it's directly from, it depends totally, the approach will depend on whether the information is easily available or not, and whether to what extent we can use a combination of AI and HI in that thing. Then we have a question on, if I build a custom should cost model for my unique specification, then can I access it through PR Plus? Absolutely, you can access it through PR Plus. And also, if I can access it through PR Plus, can my competitor also see that? No. The guardrails is that your access is controlled by what you get. So if the work was done for you and is your custom intelligence, then only you get answer. You and your organization gets the answers to it. No one outside of it is there. So the guardrails, as per the defined parameters, are absolutely strictly built, right? So you don't have to worry about any of your sensitive information or projects that we do for you being available to competitor, right? Is it possible to see an overview of the platform of expected cost development trend over the next 4 years on category level, which shows trend line with percentage evolution of cost? Yes, I think whatever you need in terms of configurable, our dashboards are absolutely configurable to show you whatever you want to see, right? So the example that Ritesh showed was pre-built information, but we have configurable dashboards which can pretty much create whatever you want to see.
Actually, we have that for several of our clients already in place where they require very specific information. All that gets delivered through our existing digital dashboards through the Amplify Pro platform. And of course, on top of that, we have this PR Plus layer, which would help you query all that information directly, even on your mobile phones.
There is a question on, does the platform provide for an option to store results for searches, and if so, for how long? At the moment, this saving of the results is not there, but we are. This is already in works, and in the next couple of months or less, you should have this feature also available, where you can see the results of your queries saved upfront itself. There.
Currently, we can download all those responses that are available, and looped questions can also be asked. So you get a response, you can ask a follow-up question on top of that.